Okay, just a reminder to sign up for the cooler. We will do a drawing at the end, and Ronnie is going to be in charge. He's getting all of our names and putting them into a special selection thing, which we'll do at the very end. So here we go. So as we talked about this morning, everyone's already been here, right? Nobody's new? Thanks for coming back. Makes me really happy. Appreciate it. I hope it's not just because we're giving shit away. Any takeaways, anything we should start with that you thought about and you want to cover more? We're going to get into the demo otherwise in just a minute and talk and show you some of the tools that we think you could be using. Anything else you want to talk about, ask about? Okay, good. Okay, so we think it's important to have one unified safety system. Everything should talk to itself, to each other. Phones, cameras, access control, and you should get real-time alerts. That's what safety means. Access control integration. Who does have access control in your buildings where you can log in with a key fob, your phone, or any kind of credential, a card perhaps? Raise your hand. Okay, just about everybody. Maybe one or two. Yeah, close. Knowing who enters is important. Just because they can get in the building doesn't mean you should know that they got there. And you should be able to control it remotely. If someone tries to get into the building and they're allowed, but something is wrong, how nice if you can remotely get them in and fix the credential problem from your smartphone. That would be ideal, yes. And who's ever heard of tailgating when it comes to access control? 2 people come through with a single swipe. That could be against your policy. It's nice if you're told about that. But you would not know about that unless your camera system and your access control were tied together. How would an access control know that 2 bodies came through? Unless it's some kind of motion detection, I don't know. That's what the cameras are for, and that's what AI is for. And smart entry, door, phone, and mobile access. Today, in the last demo we did, in the last conversation we had a year ago at this time, I asked for a volunteer, and the IT director from Walcott was nice enough to hand me his key fob. He's a very brave guy. And I had on me a little thing called the Flipper, which is a little reader that was like $100 off Amazon. Little orange device, it's adorable. It's a little picture of a flipper on it. And I was able to read his key fob and tell him the number that was on his key fob. I was able to basically turn it on emulation mode and walk up to any door with his key fob and get myself in the building. That's probably the case with almost everyone's system in this room. You are not secure if you have an outdated old access control system. If someone's near you at a bar, a restaurant, whatever, they clone your device, you're now susceptible to getting broken into. The technology today is much more encrypted and it's much smarter, and that cannot happen anymore. That's the reason I did the demo. Then I removed his credentials. I showed him from my device. So smart entry, remote access, that's what we should be thinking about. Let me have Cooper come up.
Sure.
Cooper is account executive with us, but he's also incredibly smart on the technology. He's adopting more things than I can even keep my hands on. And he's an expert on this technology, and he's going to do a demo for us.
Sure. It's good doing it after lunch. I'm happy we made this decision. Let's see here. Got that up on the screen? Yeah, cool. So this is our IPVMS, or IP Video Management Solution. It's from Digital Watchdog. It's called the Digital Watchdog Spectrum. I'll jump in and show you kind of some of the cool features that we like to go over. Some of the reasons that we love this solution. Number one is there's no recurring licenses. So you buy your license, you don't have to renew it every year, which is amazing compared to some others that are in the industry. And we can easily integrate a number of cameras into this, which makes it really easy for adopting existing IP cameras into this solution and changing them out when the budget comes available. So it really is flexible. So I'll jump in here. This is, kind of the base landing page, if you will, for the system. All your cameras are going to be here on the left side. You're going to have new layouts available across the top. You can create as many as you want. Some call them a video wall or, a picture wall. There's lots of different names for them. And then all your cameras, really easy just to drag, drop whichever ones you want. You can just kind of come along here, drag and drop some of these, and they're kind of goofy looking. So what you can do, it's really nice, is you can actually move these around and they're rearrangeable in these squares. So if you want, you can build your own layout. And for your information, this is our camera system for our Bethel office. Our headquarters is in Bethel. I'm showing you the cameras that are around our building in Bethel. So these are some that are around our parking lot. We have one at a busy intersection. Easy just to grab and drop whatever cameras you want. You can have the same view twice. You can also, what's really cool, is if I want to grab just a screen grab inside of this picture, let's say I want to grab just this car here, is I can actually create a picture in picture, and then I can have this as its own detailed zoomed in view within this camera on its own and move this around the grid as well. So really flexible when it comes to setting up the views the way that you want. Other cool thing would be within this fisheye camera, which is looking a little funny. You can, de-warp it, and you can look right around in a 360 view. You can also do that same picture in picture if I want to get a look at this car here. Let's grab that. There's another angle coming from this fisheye camera. It's very nice because then you can have one camera that's going to see, a wide area, whether it's in a warehouse, if it's outside in a driveway, you can de-warp it and move all the way around the picture. So this is, some of the really easy to use features of the layouts. Next thing I'll get into is playback, which is really one of the things, when time matters and you're trying to figure out what happened, that's, really, really important when it comes to, quickly finding the evidence or the event that you need to find. So let's say, we jump on this camera here, and let's say we want to figure out when this car arrived. So there's a couple ways we can do that. If I double click into here, it's going to bring me right to this camera. I know this is where the event happened. Let's jump into our timeline, and let's say you might know when it happened. So I can scroll in here, and I can see exactly, it'll get smaller and smaller as we go, and I can figure out what day and time it was if I might know what that was. So let's say, you want to go to May 5th at, let's call it 10:28 a.m., and you can keep moving through this timeline, zooming in farther and farther to find what you're looking for. Not necessarily the best way to do it, but it's a way to do it, and you can move along this bar on the bottom, which will always stay here to review footage. Green means that there's footage there. If you have no footage available, it'll become this darker color, which is going to be back over here. Those could be for reasons such as storage, or this was a newer camera, so there's farther history back than this camera has, which is why it stops about, let's see, on the 6th of April. The next really good way to see what's going on is going to be on your calendar here. Jump into your calendar, and you can choose the day you're looking for. So let's say we want to look at the 28th, let's see, or April, 28th, and this is all the times that there's footage available. Let's say I'm looking for 7 p.m. You can jump right to there. This bar on the bottom now just brought me right to that just hour of block where I can click through here, see what I'm looking for, and find what's important to me. The next thing that makes this really, really powerful is using motion search. So if I enable motion search, what it's going to do is it's going to look on this screen, and it's going to bring this grid up. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's going to look for motion. And this is something not native to the camera. This is all part of the server side of things. So we can use existing cameras, bring them into this solution, and we can use this powerful motion search. So if I want to see whenever there was a car that was in this area, I can draw a block right here. And now every time that there was motion in that area, this bar down here on the bottom is going to show up red. And it's going to jump to the next event, the next event, the next event. So if I want to find, so there's a truck pulling into that spot, look how quick that was to find that rather than scrolling. Every single event that has motion through that rectangle, it's going to bring it right to that next event and just keep going through until I find what I'm looking for. Saves a ton of time rather than scrolling until it looks like something changed or you find the car that you're looking for. So as we go through those same steps that we did in the beginning, if I reset our motion search here, let me close out of this box here, delete that area. So now it's going to have a red and green striped timeline on the bottom. This is all the events of motion that happen across the entire camera. And now if I'm just going into a single event, that's when it's going to have that motion search in this area. It's going to parse it down like crazy because you're only going to see the motion in that square. Same thing's going to happen on the calendar. So you, let's say, jump to the 16th. There was only motion between 1 and 2 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 and 11, and then 12 until 8. So in each of these hours, you can see when the motion was. As we jump through here, you'll see each of those events skipping to the next. Really saves a ton of time. The next really cool thing that I want to jump into is going to be the analytics events. So analytics, this is what we were talking about, where we can set up alerting. Your camera can act as another employee watching the screen for you. So you can see this little box highlighted on this person in the track duration. So it knows that there's a person here. You can see really far away, there's a little vehicle being highlighted across the street there. So this is now going to populate whenever an analytics event occurs, which is something like a car, a truck, a person, anything like that moving through. So we'll close back up this calendar. Same thing we have going on here. Now if I'm going to search in this area, let's say I highlight this box right here, it's not going to show me motion, which could be a flag blowing in the wind, or it could be a bug on the lens of the camera. It's actually going to show me the car or the person that's in that area, and that's what it's going to look for, is an actual object rather than just motion on the pixels. So as we go through this, you can see this car is touching into that square. So that's why this one went. It's going to jump right to the next one. You're going to see your next car or person coming through. There's that analytics event. So that's going to make it really easy, not only if you're looking for someone or a car or something like that. You can put a box right where you know something happened and then look exactly for that event on the timeline. Next thing I'll jump into is going to be the advanced search. So if we're coming through here, we have these tabs up on the side over here. These are going to be your motion events. So every motion event is going to be recorded here. You can click into it, jump through it, make it a lot easier to look inside of this square that we have here. Same thing's going to happen for our analytics events. All of those are going to be logged in here. And then we'll have bookmarks as well. And then this is just alerts for anything that happens with access control that gets tied into it. Same with bookmarks. You can search through people here to find the access control event tied to the camera that you have here. So I'll quickly go back to the object detection as we're talking about the advanced analytics. I'll move back to access control integration in just a second. So let's say I want to jump into here and just on this camera, let's say I want to look for a red car because we know we were looking for.
You can make that screen bigger, I think, over your window.
Is it too small on the screen? Sorry about that.
You can make it bigger, yeah.
So now I'm just going to look through here. This is going to show me all the red cars that were detected on this camera. So any of these, it's going to grab your license plate right there. I can just click on that, jump right to that event. It's going to give me that little window here in the player. There's that red car I'm looking for. You can look through all the different events that this camera has analytics on and look exactly for that red camera. A lot of times it'll grab the license plate. Let's say I want to find this one, which looks like a BH562. You can even search that up here. So there's that same car we just saw. You can find it by searching the license plate if it was able to grab it. So we have different LPR cameras which can pick up license plates. You can trigger alerts based on those license plates if you want to have an alerting based on a car maybe that shouldn't be there. And then you can search for them here as well. So these are going to be all your different events that occur. And then the really powerful thing, which brings us back to the conversation about force multiplier with AI, is setting up rules for these. So as we go through this camera, if I go into the camera settings and if I go into the AI events, these are all the different things that we can set up alerts for or events for. So things like intrusion, if there shouldn't be someone in a certain area, we can jump onto this camera screen. Let's say we don't want anyone to be in this area, so we're going to box it off. And if anyone comes in here, I'm going to get an alert for that intrusion. Same thing can happen for an area enter-exit. So let's say, at a school we have a baseball field and you don't want kids leaving and you don't want anyone else coming in. Well, you can set a line on the screen and you can set that to be your entry and exit. And whenever someone's leaving or whenever someone's entering across this line, that's when we're going to trigger that alert. And that's when we want to find out, what's going on the screen. That can automatically send an email. It can automatically trigger things as part of the phone system. We can trigger lockdowns, trigger notifications. You can also just record it as a bookmark. And then for the bookmark, you can go back and review it later. So let's say I want to set up an alert for an armed person in this area. What I'll do is jump into the camera rules here. and then I'm going to add an alert on this camera. And when, let's say, the analytics event on this camera, which was the driveway, whenever there's an armed person detected, what do we want to do? We can do a number of different things based on the use case, based on the importance of the event. This would be a very important one. We can do things such as triggering lights and sirens. We can automatically call phones as part of the phone system. We can send push notifications to people's phone apps, send emails. We can also just bookmark it, so you can review those later, and then you know that you have to go and see these events later on. So really, really powerful. This is all something that we can do with cameras that are existing. You buy a one-time license, put it onto this system, and then you can add these analytics as part of your security package, and you don't need to hire another person watching these all the time. Let's see, don't save. I'll jump now into the, whoops, just closed out. Jump now into the trade show booth, and I can show you one of the examples there, which will be pretty fun. We can try to startle some people walking by with the siren. But that's one of the cool things we can do. So I'll show you one of the analytics events we have set up on there. So if I jump into the camera on that board, please do. Mm-hmm. Sure. Great question. Absolutely. So that brings me to this. Let's see, turn off that. So this is the camera we have at the booth right outside. And to answer that question, which is a great question, is if I come into this camera rule, so what I set up is I set up soft triggers so you can activate the lights and the sirens right from here. We can also unlock the door right from here that's on the board. And then if I go into the rules, one of the things that I can do is, let's say that you have a parking lot and there shouldn't be anyone there after hours, because it's, there's no need for any vehicle or any person to be there after hours. What we can do is set up this, this diagnostic event, or actually, no, I don't have it plugged in on this one. This is the wrong one. I'll build a new one from scratch here. So let's say if I go to the camera rules, let's make a new rule. So on an object detected, and it's going to be on this camera right here. We're going to say if you ever detect a person, and it's going to be in this schedule. So let's say it's just going to be after hours. So let's turn it off from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Don't ever look at these. Don't act on these rules, because we don't care. There's going to be people on site. Say okay. What are we going to do? So we're going to play a sound. We're going to execute this HTTPS request. This is what triggers lights and sirens. We can also play a pre-recorded sound. So let's say, a perfect example would be at an auto dealer and they have a camera out in the parking lot. Someone's going and looking around at the cars. This can detect them as a person. Automatically, that person will come up on the screen. Thank you for stopping into our parking lot. We're currently closed. Please come back at 7 a.m. for a sales associate. Something like that would be an example. Or for a school, this is private property, please leave now. And this can automatically play with lights and sirens. While it's doing that, it can also notify the police, it can notify administrators, all on its own without anyone being involved. Again, with cameras that you already have, we can add this analytics over existing IP cameras, which is incredibly powerful and really helps with limited budget. So this would be the setup for adding it based on a schedule. And then you can set zones for where the people might be detected, where vehicles would be detected, things like that. Let's see if we can scare someone here with a siren. No, oh, we got a head turn. So these are things that we can set up with integration into the access control. Oh, there's Chris. we got some, they're loving it. So it works, that's awesome. Other thing that's cool is you can jump on, hold to speak. You can use this from your cell phone. So I can jump onto my phone app, hold down the speak, and if I see someone there, I got the notification, I can tell them that I'm watching them and say, hey, you need to leave, things like that. We can add external speakers, so it's way louder than just what's on the camera here. The other cool thing, I'll show you back to our Bethel server. Let's jump back into here, is the integration with access control. So the other thing we can do is with those analytics events, with the armed person, we can activate lockdowns. So those can come through to the access control system. That can initiate a lockdown as part of an analytics event. More often than not, we don't suggest doing that. It was go to an administrator and then they would activate the lockdown either by dialing codes on their phone, which could be a mobile app part of the phone system, do it right from the access control app, or they can go over to any nearby keypad or key fob reader and they can set themselves as a triple scan, can activate a lockdown for any administrators in the school. So if I go into the access control integration here, if I go to the back door here, this is our back entrance, and if I want to see all of the key scans that we've had, that's going to be right here. So as I come through here, I can see, every time someone scanned in and just click through them. And if I want to look for a certain person, let's say I want to search for Ron here, I can see every event of him tapping into the door outside as he comes through and taps in on the access control system. So you can have a good log of when people are coming and going, and you can set those tailgating events based on these events. So if I come back to here, I don't think I actually have the AI on this one, but I'll do it on our driveway again. So if I had, the analytics set up on this one, I can jump into these rules, and one of these rules that I would add is going to be the analytics event, and we're going to jump to this one, and then we can look for tailgating, and that tailgating can then be tagged every time someone's following someone else in on that one tap. You would be alerted, or it can do any number of things that you'd need. Kind of went through a lot of information there. Are there any questions on the system or any of the cool stuff we have here? No?
Can you show the fisheye and dewarp it and show how that it's a 360 camera on the back door? And show opening, turning the red to green on the access control and the whole thing?
Sure. So I'll jump to live here. One of the cool things you can do, looks like it's raining in Bethel. So, 360, you can set this as a 180, move all the way across. You can also have this as a 360 camera, so you get a full 360 around. Again, we can have this be part of a layout. So if I want to jump in here and add different cameras, I might want to make this a bit bigger here. So
make your window bigger too.
Yeah.
Window small.
Sorry about that. Make this full screen for you. And then you can grow this a bit to fill up more space, and then we can move these along here. You can set whatever layout you'd like, and then if you come over to the Layouts tab here, I can then save this. So if I want to save this layout, if I like looking at the exterior, save this as, outside layout 1. And then that'll be easily accessible for me. Jump down to here and see the cameras there. You can have as many as you like, and it's easy to save. If I jump back into here, let's go back to this camera. One of the cool things with tying the access control system into here is if I look right here, you can see the key fob scanner right here, and we actually have a trigger here for that door. So if I click on that, it's actually going to turn that from red to green. You can see the door being opened. So if someone calls in on a door phone, if someone's at the door, you can have your SRO, whoever it is, with their screen up, click right on that unlock button, watch the person they expect to be coming in actually walk through the door, and then that'll get tagged in here so you have record of that person entering as part of the camera system. So very powerful having that integration there.
Cool.
Any other questions? And turn it back over to the rest of the presentation. I don't want to take too much time.
Anything else on, we covered AI on the camera system pretty well?
Yeah, so AI events, you can add those analytics. Existing IP cameras can be used, which is incredible for protecting budget and putting them onto this solution. There's a number of things that we can do with those events. So that's a good overview.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Cooper.
Sure.
Thank you. Another thing that's service we've been using, which we're super excited about, is we can't be everywhere, obviously, and you can't be everywhere. So in the case of events that are after hours, there's no one there to monitor, we have hired security guards nationwide that can be on call. And using AI, we show them that an event is happening at your building. So if it's a school, and tell me please, why do high school kids have to loiter after hours or on a Saturday night or something at their high school? What are they thinking? Like, I don't understand what that's all about. There's other places you can go. Why go there? But anyway, if someone's loitering at a high school, that would be a trigger that, hey, this is an after-hours situation. No one should be in this parking lot by the building hanging around. So automatically we can say, send a video clip because a person was detected, and go to the security guard. They get pop up on their screen, and we use a service called Deep Sentinel. They'll say, Deep Sentinel security, you should not be in this area. Please leave immediately. And they can play a loud siren and flashlights and all kinds of things. And then they can call the police if someone shouldn't be there and they're not leaving. It even goes so far as if you were to do a marijuana dispensary and you really don't want someone in that building, you could literally do a flashbang and do tear gas released by the guards in Nebraska or wherever the heck they are in your dispensary to make people leave the building because they shouldn't be there after hours. They're only going to cause trouble. So those are pretty cool technologies we can do. And then we have some of that technology that Cooper mentioned on the lower end. We could play sirens and flashlights automatically if you don't want to spend the money on a monthly service like that. So I think we've covered a little bit in the sense that unified systems in action, you should agree with me that you confirm that a threat has happened. You can trigger a lockdown if that's what's necessary. And again, as Cooper mentioned, we should always have a human involvement when it comes to a serious event because it could be a false alarm. We're detecting firearms. That's amazing. We all need that. But in the rare instance where it might not be accurate because it's a broom and a janitor has a broom in his or her hand, you can't have that be triggering a lockdown across the whole school district. We have to be careful. And so we always want to get the human involvement whenever possible, at least so far today. And then there's the broadcast of that. It's maybe calling 911. It's auto dialing the administration team that is responsible. And then the first responders are on the way. Joe, talk to me for a minute about this next screen. So one of the tools that we have to offer, we have a couple different tools we offer that are an alert. And Joe mentioned something earlier about that. Now, imagine you're a school system or you're a town office, any building at all in a public setting, and something happens. It's a 911 call. What's going on? Well, what do you think?
I mean, having any sort of real-time incident view like this is talking about is, especially in an active shooter type situation, is huge. For the first line supervisors and arriving incident command and officers, you can have this up with real-time information on an MDT in a car. You can have this up in a dispatch center or in the chief's office, my office, wherever. You can have access immediately to this information that is being gathered by the cameras. And now knowing, one of the things we did in our schools, we kind of went with the Tactical Association's nomenclature for labeling our doors and windows. So every door and window around the exterior of our building has a reflective placard in the window saying, this is door A1, front door is door A1, or the left side there, it's B2, whatever that is. It also corresponds with the room number on the interior. So from a response perspective, you're going to get a bunch of 911 calls. It's going to be chaotic in a communication center, especially a small one like ours where we only have one dispatcher working. And now we can have real-time incident views of what's going on in there. For responders, what is the actual threat? How many people are there? What type of weapon is being used? Is it a long gun? Is it a pistol? Are they planting any kind of incendiary device? All that is real-time information that you're gaining while you're responding to a location. Having that information not only for the first people going through the door, but then from the incident command side of the house is invaluable. To be able to then communicate that information to mutual aid partners, do we need fire and EMS? What other resources do we need on the scene? You're seeing it live and having that versus we have a shooter in the cafeteria over here, but we don't know where he went or this or that. Now you're able to track. And then all of this information is being gathered after the fact. You can go back and review. You can review it from an investigative perspective for any, criminal involvement, et cetera, but also from a QA perspective. What did we do right? What did we do wrong in this response? So having this tool is more than just collecting information and recording it. When you add that layer of AI, when you have the ability to cast it real time to external devices, it's back to what we said earlier about being a force multiplier. That's truly what you have here. So it's more than just a static camera at a location. It's a tool and it's a resource. It's a resource for your principals, your superintendent. What are we doing for off-site evacuation? What are we doing for reunification? All these things going on, and you're able to then have a real-time command center with this information with all these different parts of an incident going on. So the tactical commander may want a particular view. The people in charge of reunification may be looking at the adjacent school and what's going on there. Oh man, we have recess, we got to get those kids in. We have to move things around. So the more information you can have at your fingertips, the more successful you're going to be with your outcome, being able to apply this information on the spot.
So imagine you're incident command, or you're the police officer in the car, and you have your little Panasonic Toughbook right next to you at an angle this way. Up on the screen pops the link. You click the link, you're seeing this image. You click the red room 303. You're looking at the camera in the room to see why someone dialed 911. And now you're walking in the door with knowledge. You're not just walking in blind. To me, I'm not a police officer, but boy, that sounds like it's really a great tool to have.
It's back to seconds count. Knowing that to get to that corridor, I can enter from the door 1 on the, or whatever door is there on the left, door 9. That's B9 would be labeled in ours. I can send responding units to B9, room 312 or whatever that number is, and it's that much faster. Those seconds matter, and being able to gather that information and get it back out to the appropriate personnel in such a timely fashion really changes the game. Rather than running into a scenario blind, you may know what protective measures you need to take, what are the resources you need, so on and so on. Were they putting chains over the doors in the auditorium? And now we have a different breaching scenario. There's so much information that becomes available as it's occurring that it really changes the dynamic of the entire response.
Awesome, thank you. A connected system. You have AI detection, instant alerts, phone integration, access control response. Locking those doors automatically across the building because you press that button. That gives you faster response, reduced risk, lower cost, and of course, you have better safety in your community. How do you pay for it? Any ideas? I was wondering, President Grant, are grants named grants because something he did way back in the old days? I should probably look that up. CEN is a wonderful resource. You're here for a reason. We love CEN. There's so much that they do for us. Your existing circuit is amazing. We have about 2 milliseconds of latency on CEN to our phone service and some of our other services. We are on net with CEN, and we love that. It's a big part of our backbone. They have what's called the Public Safety Data Network, the PSTN, and your police and fire departments can use that virtually, maybe for free, as an addition to what you're already doing, a separate private security circuit. To get all that data coming to the police department, you might be able to put in technology that might be so cheap compared to getting a commercial circuit. Ask the questions, talk to us. There's an application process you can use with the state, at the PSTN network, to get some of that, maybe for free completely, or certainly at reduced cost. And fiber is faster and cheaper today than it used to be. Pauline, please come up. Pauline is a wonderful partner for a long, long time. IP Genie is a company that we purchased in 2024. And one of the best things we ever did, we got amazing people, including Chris Farrell, who knows probably some of you. He's our VP of technology. We went to bid with Krog in 2015, and there were 2 of us that won the bid, us and Mitel. Mitel ended up fading away, I guess. And we are the only no bid, no RFP in the state for phone service. And we do video a little bit now too, which we can talk about. She's responsible for the Capital Region Council of Governments, or CROG as we call it, that's her nickname. There's many council of governments, but these guys are leaders in the field. They're way better than most. And isn't it true, Pauline, that any cooperative services that you get, any great deal you get from vendors for the Capital Region can be shared?
Correct. So one of the things that the Capital Region does is we run the Capital Region Purchasing Council, of which that is the IT Services Cooperative. And so the Capital Region Purchasing Council has 150 plus members. So we have most of the municipalities are participating in that. And through that, any of the RFPs that we have done, any of those towns are eligible. And that's also, you're eligible to become a member through your COG if you are not already a member. Most likely, I would bet that most people in this room are already a member through their municipality. Chances are 150 out of 169. We're pretty close. And with that, we do. So Mike said no bid, but it was bid. So we did the procurement for the Purchasing Council and the IT Services Cooperative. And so it is pre-bid, if you will, for you. That is, and CCI Voice, IPG has been a great partner. They have when we look at it, when we look at extending the contract, we look at competitive pricing in terms of the marketplace. We make sure that the pricing remains competitive in terms of continuing the relationship. And that's, they have stayed. And Krog is actually a user of their phones, and and we love it. And I will say, my phone is on my laptop. So if I need to make a call and I'm not at home, I'm not in the office, I don't need to use my personal, information or anything like that. I just call from my computer, and they think I'm in the office. I have told my people, don't use that phone when you're working from home to call 911.
Yes.
Because
Use your cell phone.
you use your cell phone when you're working at home. Don't use that, because that's the 911 for that phone is tied to our office. But it's a great system. It's a great partnership. I think there's another slide, right?
Yes, there is.
So it's voice over IP. So that's what we bid. Well, it's 10 years ago. None of this AI or a lot of the technology did not exist. It's through the IT Services Cooperative, as I said, the Purchasing Council. It's a set pricing. It's extremely competitive. I would
It's
say
embarrassingly low, and I keep wondering why are we doing this, but it's good for you. It's good for you guys. Yes.
It is. It is. I don't think you'll find another price. You will not find.
No, that no one's close to us.
This is one of some of our bids. People are like, oh, I can get this lower someplace else. This is not one of them. I will say that we have never lost out on price with regards to this partnership, and I would also say that when we moved to IPG&E, we saved hundreds. We saved several $1,000s. We only have 35 phones, so it's not like we have a lot of phones. But we saved several $1,000s. So you folks who have hundreds of phones, do the math in your head. It multiplies very quickly. Mm-hmm. And it's a set price, so you exactly know what you will be paying. When we have to add an employee, add a phone, there's no add-ons.
No muss, no fuss. There's a side letter that gets written, that gets signed, and it's easy.
Yep.
And then there's do you know much about the STEEP contract?
Yeah, so the STEEP that's a grant that small towns can apply for. I can't remember the number of towns that are eligible, but it's a majority.
147.
There you go.
That's most of the people in this room, probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that you can apply for. It's for various. It's for capital investments, I believe.
Capital investments for safety and security upgrades, public communication. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually for a whole host of things, and so that is an avenue that towns have used as well. Mm-hmm. So for the granting process, and that's a grant that comes through OPM. There's a set amount. It's a competitive grant, but it's often it's a good source.
It's about $30 million available per round. The next round is coming up in the 2026, 2027 year. It's exciting.
You know more about it than I do.
Thank you, Pauline. I appreciate you. We won their contract in 2015. It was renewed in 2018, 21, and 24. And they've been wonderful to work with. One of our favorite clients is working with Krog. They're just so nice. And they're there for you, the towns. The other place that is blown up, who knows what POTS is? Raise your hand. Most everybody, if you don't. Plain old telephone service. The other funny telecom buzzword that we talk about is butt sets. You know what a butt set is? That's when the old-fashioned phone guy comes into your building to fix your analog lines in the closet. He has a little test phone that has little alligator clips. And he hooks it on his belt and hits him in his butt when he walks. That's a butt set. But POTS lines is a jokey word that is actually a real thing. And sadly, the price of POTS lines, those analog lines for your fire alarms and burglar alarms and elevators and fax machines and used to be credit cards and postage machines, you name it. Entry systems sometimes for the keypad at the door of a multi-unit building. Those things are all outdated. Of course, Alexander Graham Bell invented analog lines, let's admit it. So there's not much change in the technology, and it's a pair of lines, positive and negative. They're copper wires, and copper oxidizes with oxygen. It turns, green. I've seen copper roofs. Well, that's getting worse and worse over time, and now we have fiber and other technologies. So the FCC, some 6-7 years ago, at least by now, mandated that there should be a retirement of analog lines in general across the country. And the AT&Ts, Verizons of the world, of course, are responding, and so is Frontier. Now, Verizon just announced, just recently, within the last month, a retirement of all analog and even PRI lines. Sometime in June, they're getting aggressive and getting rid of them all. Not just warning you, they're just shutting stuff down. Well, in the case of Frontier, our lovable local phone company that we have inherited through the government-sponsored monopoly that was Ma Bell back in the early part of the 19th century. They have our lines now. They're getting a little bit carried away, including sometimes 500% or more in increases in those analog lines. The service has deteriorated. There is no service level agreement, SLA, long repair times, and then installs, forget about it. And then the regulatory shifts. Remember the term tariff? A tariff was what the phone company had to live by in pricing their services to you. That's no longer a thing. That's been kind of it doesn't matter anymore for analog lines. So here is a real life example. I'm not using the name of the town because I don't want to embarrass them. I actually asked them if I could, and I'd feel bad if I mentioned the name because maybe they weren't doing the best job, who knows. But you can see Verizon in the first line, 11 grand, 21, 25, 32, 34. From 2020 to 2024, actually it goes much beyond this. Anyway, we got to 25 and 26. We're missing the other two. The last 2 years get even worse. I'm not sure how that got missing from the slide. AT&T, look at it, goes from 60, 6,500, 4,800, 27, 28, 43, $44,000 a year. Frontier, 19, 40,000, 43, 48, 45. Frontier on year 2025 and 2026 is up to 125,000. And this town had T1s, which is how they connected the police department to a school for an antenna and the police department to the fire department for control for their communication systems. A T1 used to be $300 back in the day. It's now $2,000. And you're going, oh, it's terrible. Okay, that's good. Guess what they just announced a couple months ago? Hey, town, your T1s that are now 2,000 are going to 20,000 each per month.
Wow.
That means that's $40,000. That's whatever the number is, $36,000 more per month. That's $400,000 a year on what was $44,000 just recently. That's what's going on right now. It's happening to you too, I'm sure. Look at CCI Voice, formerly IP-Genie for some of these years. 46,000, 46,000, 46,000, 46,000, 46,000. 2025 was 47,000 because they bought some phones. We don't change. And then there's some other ones in here. This is what's happening in the real world right now. So please pay attention. This is savings that can pay for a lot of the technology you saw a few minutes ago. This is how you pay for it. You're probably already spending $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 too much on some of these lines. Now, when we do a POTS audit, especially so if I do a POTS audit, we'll get your CSR report, which is called the Customer Service Record, from your phone company, from Frontier. We'll get a copy of your phone bill. We'll do a line-by-line breakdown. We'll actually take that and we'll analyze the heck out of it. We will send people on site with butt sets to hit them in the butt as they walk. Go check all your lines, see if they're alive. 80%, 75 to 80% or more of lines that we look for are disconnected. They're not being used. They were disconnected years ago, and they can go away immediately. That's what happens most of the time. We give a savings report and recommend line by line, kill this one, keep this one, kill this one. Now, and then there's some that we don't know about. We talk to the client and we investigate and find out, why do you need this weird line that we can't understand? And we get to the bottom of it. That's all done, and then we go and help them cancel those lines. And the savings is massive. It's really incredible. Now, if there are lines that have to be kept, now most of the time you would think that the fire alarm is the number one thing to keep. That's one line you can't get rid of. I understand, sure, why not? Except that the alarm companies have been putting in cellular type systems or internet-based systems with cellular backup. We do POTS replacement. It's POTS in a box, P-I-A-B, POTS in a box. And for about $79 a month for typical lines, but now you're paying $100 or $125 or $300 per line now, believe it or not. For $79, guaranteed for 5 years or longer, we will put in a POTS replacement. It uses your internet connection that's in your building. CEN is amazing. It's never going to go down, knock on wood. And we have a cellular backup with 2 carriers on 1 SIM card. So you will have a triple redundancy for your elevator, for your fire alarm, for your burglar alarm, et cetera, or for the natural gas monitoring system, whatever you have. That's incredible. That's happening now, and that is how you can pay for all the technology that we got you excited about. Not to mention, when you go to a one-time license on the cameras on the camera software that we get you, and get rid of the yearly renewal that Milestone will charge you and some of the other vendors will charge you, that also will pay for this. Are you excited? Any questions, any comments?
You guys helped me with that this summer, actually, saved like thousands of dollars.
Thank you. What town are you?
Sherman.
Oh, yes.
We had a bunch of POTS lines that were not being used at all.
Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. Sherman's been a client of ours for a while. We just did a nice speaker system for you. Keep your kids safe in the schools. Really, the small towns in Connecticut, best kept secret. We love working with the small towns in Connecticut. Thank you for being a customer for a long time now. Other comments and questions? I think we have some time probably. I'm just giving Ronnie time to make sure that he's good to go on the names.
Spinner wheel.
I am ready to go as long as
Okay,
no
good.
one...
To do the drawing for the cooler. Anything else that we forgot to talk about? I'm not going to keep you if I don't have to.
Can you just name a couple of towns that have convinced you guys and are using the service?
So we just, we won the contract for this is like the latest one, and Cooper gets the credit for this. We won the town of Watertown Schools. Watertown Schools, we did their phones for the school district. That was a big project for us maybe a year ago. And we did a competitive bid for the camera systems. There were about 10 bidders roughly. And I was at the bid opening meeting. We were the second or third lowest, but 2 of the bidders didn't bid the right number of cameras, and they gave 2 megapixel cameras. We bid 8 megapixel cameras. 8 megapixel equals 4K. 2 megapixel is not even 1080p. It's like 768. Okay, that's your solution? Oh, good job getting the low bid. Yay. Anyway, we won that deal. We're so excited. We did the walkthrough just with our whole team a couple days ago. We're super jazzed to get going. It's going to go quickly. It's 200 plus cameras in all the school buildings, and that's going to go live. It's going to be done in the next couple months. Danbury Housing Authority, we did a $1 million project for them. It was really exciting. There were 225 cameras in 15 buildings on 6 different campuses. 2 of them were high rises, like 15-story buildings. And there's a different element that comes into play. You've got to be able to do access control to get in the building, and you have to have apartment intercom access. So we put apartment intercoms in every unit, where you walk in the building and you press on the big stainless steel wall with all the apartment numbers, you press apartment number 202. The resident upstairs sees you on their camera. Oh, hey, Bob, come on in. Buzzes and buzzes you in. We did that for them. And then we did cameras throughout. And then now their security department can see cameras everywhere. And then we did license plate readers for them, which we didn't talk much about. There are dedicated license plate reader cameras, which can be $15 to $2,000 to $3,000 in some cases. That is hundreds of dollars with us. It's a license on our software now with a camera you may already have. So that's the kind of things that we did. And then the phone deals. There's so many customers that we have. Town of Ridgefield, New Fairfield. We can go on and on. But the key thing is I can think of 3 bids in the last 6 months. We were the low bid on every one, despite the fact that they could have used Krog and just didn't know. Or we were the low bid. You didn't have to do that. You could have saved yourself the hassle, 2 months of hell, and $20,000 in professional fees to build an RFP for you. Just go to Krog. It's already done, and it's probably cheaper anyway. It's been great to have that contract, but it's proven out that we're not doing it because we're nice people and when we have a relationship. It's because our pricing is actually better. Thank you. Thanks for asking. Is that it? All right, let's go.